Sunday, July 15th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Welcome to episode number 4 of the Watchman's Report. This is a weekly report we do on Sundays where we just take a trip around the world and look at the current events that are currently underway, some that have already happened, and some that may happen in the future. Let's get started. 4 days away from the unique planetary arrangement that we've been waiting on now for over a year. July 19th, all of the planets will be sharing one side of the sun, an event that's only occurred 6 times in the past 120 years. This time will be number 7. Historically, 5 of those 6 times, volcanic activity on our little planet increased, in some cases exponentially, and we're seeing that trend right now as I do this video. Volcanic activity is definitely picking up. And we'll get to that here in just a minute, but first we're going to start here at the website, MrMBB333.com. You can find this link below in the description box. At the top of the website, you'll find a tab that says Daily Report. Click on that. It's a collection of recent news articles that are updated daily, sometimes multiple times a day. Occasionally, you'll find a scientific white paper in there. It's worth a pit stop. It's usually informative. The rest of these tabs through here in the center are real-time data with regard to Earth, the Sun, space, or a combination of all three. Don't forget to check these out. You got the Schumann resonance, new global volcanism tab that's updated once a week, the moon phase updated daily, Earth's vitals, solar wind speed, X-ray solar flares, K-index. We're monitoring the Yellowstone caldera, the ionosphere. All of this is real time. Interactive weather map that takes you to Intellicast.com, real time. Geoelectric map, real time. Seismographs, real time. And real time lightning map. We're not finished there, though. You can scroll down, look at real-time SO2 and CO2 data. Real-time Earth goes east. In fact, we'll click on that real quick and take a look at the Earth in color. We can get it to update. There we go. Zoom in. And there's the dust making its way across the Atlantic, into the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, up into South Texas, through South Padre Island. We're going to look at from a webcam's perspective here in just a few minutes, into the East Pacific, and I'm getting reports from San Diego. They're saying they're seeing sands of the Sahara making the rounds up the west coast. Reports on the volcanic eruption from Marzo you can find here. Daily reports from Hawaii. Astrophotography, I think you'll enjoy all of that down below. But let's get started with the seismographs. We're going to start at Yellowstone caldera, the supervolcano at Yellowstone National Park. Right now they're looking pretty normal from my perspective. There's some movement here and there. It's random small movement, not anything major. What we're looking for is a common denominator, a large common denominator across all of these platforms. When we see that, we know something's up. This small stuff, I expect to see it. It's a supervolcano. So it's not only a supervolcano, but it's home to one of the most active, if not the most active geyser on Earth. So there's going to be activity here, especially at Old Faithful and in the neighborhood. So right now, as far as I'm concerned, it looks pretty normal. Nothing to really worry about. The other seismographs, you're going to see some bigger spikes on here. What those spikes are were a tandem of earthquakes that were just a few hours apart off the coast of, let me see if I can find it here real quick, off the coast of Yemen. Latest earthquakes right here. They're on a fault, so they're not really a surprise or in a unique location. It's kind of rare, though. There's not earthquakes here that often, but being on a fault zone, it's not like I said, a big surprise, but that's this one you see here and here. That's what the bigger markers are on these seismographs. Those 2 earthquakes that were the biggest, I think a 6.0 and a 5.4. And you can see they were felt clear up in Turkey. So reasonably strong, not that big, above moderate stage, but nothing major by any means. Didn't create a tsunami or anything like that, but was detected on most of these platforms around the world. This is way down in the South Pacific, and you can see it still detected some very small vibrations way down in the South Pacific. So respectable events. I don't know what we got going on here in Argentina. That's a little weird. Hasn't had any data for nearly 24 hours. It's strange. But these are machines. They can and will break. So sometimes it just happens. But typically, if they break and they can get to these things, they turn them off. That's a weird signature coming out of Pennsylvania. Those are the big earthquakes, or the moderate earthquakes, not necessarily big. But they were felt all across the United States, Canada, Mexico. There you see in the state of Washington, Nebraska. Probably not felt by humans, but were definitely picked up by these very sensitive machines. Here's one from Tazewell, Tennessee. Picked up both of those quakes off the coast of Yemen. So the seismographs overall look pretty normal. Ionosphere, shouldn't be much activity on here. When we're dealing with strong solar wind or cosmic rays, you will see the shields get up into the orange, even the red category sometimes. Right now, you'll see many, many hours here pass. Not a thing. Barely even a bump. We're in a deep solar minimum. You can find the solar minimum number here at the website. That's the SFU number. That stands for Solar Flux Unit. Right now it's very low. If you click on that tab, this will take you to a graph that shows you the recent solar maximums and solar minimums. This is where we are today, and we're expected to go even a little bit lower. So solar minimum's going to be around for a while. I think we can point the finger back at solar minimum for a lot of the things that we see currently going on around planet Earth, and that includes the high UV that we're seeing. I personally think that the solar minimum plays a part in that. I'm not saying it's solely responsible, but I think it is partially responsible. I think once we get past the solar minimum, I think things will get back to normal, at least with regard to the UV. But we've got to keep a close eye on the UV, especially during solar minimum. I just received these pictures a few hours ago from Oregon, and they were very surprised when they went out to retrieve their plants that are normally quite comfortable out in the sunshine. Not today. This one here, this is an avocado plant that burned up out in the sun today. And the viewer that sent this in had never seen that. So to me, that's just another sign that the UV is very high at times. And we know it's been high in Oregon. We've had readings this year from Oregon that were in the 13 range. Shouldn't be over 7 up there on a good day. So I think it's the solar minimum. I think once we get past solar minimum without any major, potholes in the road, so to speak, I think we'll be okay. But we got to get through solar minimum first. The interactive weather map, it is exactly that. You click on it, takes you to Intellicast.com. You can click on the play button and watch the weather radar. This is real-time data also. You can click on the layers tab, click on storm tracks, and see if there's any storms in your area or moving into your area by clicking the play button down at the bottom. And as you can see right now, there are many strong storms that extend from coast to coast, literally, and everywhere in between. A lot of hail from Utah to New York and down into Florida right now. The gold squares are strong storms, high winds. The green circles are strong storms, and no red triangles, which represent tornadic activity. So overall, pretty active day, but nothing super major at the moment. But that's always subject to change. The Yellowstone seismographs look pretty good. The seismographs around the world look pretty good. Real-time lightning, take a look at that real quick. It's at 60,000 globally right now. I think most of those are from North America. Let's look and see. 41,400 from North America. And it looks like the hot spot is from right there in west central Tennessee down into southern Mississippi, Alabama. A lot of activity right now. So the majority of the lightning strikes are indeed from North America. You can see the real-time lightning strikes here at the website at the real-time lightning map tab. Let's take a look at the Schumann resonance. Earth's frequency. Pretty normal. The last couple of weeks we've seen normal Schumann resonances. That's what this is right here. We've seen spikes for many months actually in the past. Big, overwhelming spikes here at the Schumann resonance graph. But recently it's been very quiet, which isn't a bad thing. And I've noticed that as we get closer, and I'm just saying this because it is what it is, as we get closer to this unique planetary arrangement, this has gotten quieter. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. It very well could be, but it is what it is. The moon phase shows you what the moon should look like on this day, July 15th, 2018, a waxing crescent, illumination 8%. Sky Phenomenon Photo Gallery. Yes, I'm a little biased, but you guys have sent in the greatest pictures in the world of our little planet. Some very unique pictures of the sky, different cloud phenomenon, storm phenomenon, unbelievable halos around the sun. Look at these clouds from New Mexico. Some amazing stuff. You guys are really on the ball. Thanks for the pictures. Keep them coming. I greatly appreciate it. I will get to them. We get a lot of emails now, and it does take a little bit of time to get through them. But please keep sending them. I thoroughly enjoy sky phenomenon pictures. I really and truly do. The K-index, very, very quiet. It's been like that for a long time. We saw a little bump in the action last week. But again, we're in solar minimum, so this is what we expect to see. It's going to be like that for a while. It's not the apocalypse. We've been through solar minimums before, but this time it's kind of unique with regard to the planetary arrangement. We're in solar minimum, and you know the weather has been kind of crazy around the world. You've got to admit, I mean, places are seeing a year's worth of rain in a half a day. We're seeing several feet of hail at one time. You know, it's kind of unprecedented with regard to some of the storms that we're seeing. Getting some unique pictures of the sky. This was sent in by Jim from upstate New York. Some more sky phenomenon. We get pictures all the time from people from all over the world. Keep them coming. I really and truly do appreciate them. Guys, we're going to move on to Hawaii. This is a look from the webcam that's observing Fissure 8 and has been since around the 1st of June. This was put up by the USGS. Today it's looking, there you go, I just got a updated picture. Looks like pretty much the way it's looked for now the last several weeks. A lot going on with the Hawaii volcano Kilauea that's reconfiguring the shoreline. In fact, let's take a quick look at the shoreline. Everything's extending outward this way. This is all new shore along the big island of Hawaii from Fissure 8's lava flow. Right now this is the main active region right here. But you can see with regard to at least ocean entry of hot lava, it's kind of slowing down a little bit. So keeping a close eye on Hawaii, you can also find updates from the Big Island right here at the website, Kaika Marzo, Hawaii Updates, that tab right there. Looking at the Earth, the reason I'm watching this every day is the sands of the Sahara as they're making their way around the globe. But as long as this dust is pushing offshore of the west coast of Africa, don't look for any major hurricanes, at least in the Atlantic. And as long as it's extending over here into the Caribbean, there's really not going to be any chance for development over here either, because it creates low-level wind shear. Have you ever seen, well, maybe you haven't, I don't know. But I know from years of watching hurricanes, I've never seen a hurricane form in a low wind shear environment. Now, unless it's a new type of hybrid hurricane that can outmuscle low-level wind shear, then yeah, maybe we'll see one this year. It wouldn't surprise me. But one side effect of this dust is it's blocking radiation, and that's a good thing. Is it making the climate warmer over the land that it's occupying? That's a very good question, and one that I actually did some research on, and it does, like I said, reflect radiation. It does have some thermal properties to it, to where it does warm the air around it, but not necessarily always at the surface. It can push warmer air into certain areas that it's moving to, but not necessarily immediately. So it's kind of, you know, it's actually good for the Earth, believe it or not. And it's blocking radiation, and we're seeing high levels of UV right now. You know what, guys? That's a good thing. So I don't know what's causing this. That's one of my main questions when I look at this. It's not so much the dust storm itself, because it's not necessarily unprecedented. It's happened in the past. This one is exceptionally big. But what's causing it, you know? That's what I ask when I look at this. It's like, wow, that's strong. There's a strong force behind this that can push a dust cloud over 6,000 miles. That's pretty strong. So that's what I see. When I look at that, that's what I see. This is what I see when I'm looking at South Padre Island. This is the same dust cloud you're looking at right there. That's it. This is real time. South Padre is right there. There's a webcam from South Padre, and you can see the skies look dull. That's from the dust that we're seeing here at nullschool.net. This instrument detects the dust particulates. Some of it could be from volcanic activity, but this one I use that's green is supposedly specifically dust. It's not supposed to be a combination of, SO2 and dust. It's just strictly dust. And you can see it's making a big push inland right now over Texas. And that's today, and we'll step it ahead tomorrow, the 16th. You can see it goes up inland over Texas. And like I said earlier, that blocks out the UV. Yes, there is going to be a significant temperature increase here next week, especially on Wednesday. This here we're looking at is Tuesday the 17th. I don't know if this goes up to Wednesday. We'll see. Yeah, it does. And you can see this kind of shifts over towards Oklahoma, into Kansas City, parts of Arkansas, Louisiana. It's supposed to be exceptionally warm there on the 18th, which is Wednesday. So does it have anything to do with the dust storm that's coming that way? It could have. Yeah, it definitely could. But temperatures are supposed to reach like 110 in parts of Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to take a look at that here in a minute. This is off the coast of Southern California. I received an email from someone in this area. This is near San Diego, and you can kind of see in the background, it looks pretty decent up front. Earlier in the background, it looked a little dull. We'll go down to Imperial Beach, which is south of San Diego. You can see out here, you don't see blue skies. They just pan to the left, which would be south. And that does look dusty. Let's take a look at Imperial Beach. Looks better than yesterday, I'll say that. Yesterday it was very dusty. And again, I don't know if it was dust or if it was smoke from wildfires. There's only one wildfire that's burning, and that's the Valley Fire, I think. That's 30% contained. It's only 1,300 acres. It's not that big. These other two are already contained. 100% contained. That's the Creek Fire. And this one's the Box Fire, 100% contained. And they were very, very small. So the only one in the area is about 100 miles away to the north. I don't know if that would influence the atmosphere here, but a local gentleman from San Diego said that the Sahara Sands had reached their area today. So that's how he's interpreting what he's seeing in the atmosphere. And I agree, it does look more brown, and it does look like if you follow these cameras up the coast, you can see it does look, or at least yesterday it did, it was more dense down here in the Imperial Beach area than it was north of San Diego. So it was like this atmospheric pollution, whatever it be, whether it be dust or smoke, was coming up from the south, which would tell me it's coming up from sands of the Sahara, right up through here. One other thing we wanted to look at were temperatures for the upcoming week, and we're looking at overall generally warmer temperatures, especially where this dust cloud is going, right here onshore Texas, up into Oklahoma, Kansas, later on in the week. See this cloud slowly lingers up through the central part of the country. Here at VentureSky.com, we're looking at the temperatures across the United States for the upcoming week. Let's start with Monday. You can see some warm temperatures in the Pacific Northwest. Some areas looking at 104 degrees on Monday at 2 p.m. Warm through the central part of California all week, especially on Monday, but I think that extends through the entire week. Let's take a quick look here. Yeah, it's warm all week long through California. Back to Monday where this dust cloud rolls in, generally warm temperatures pushing the 100-degree mark. Over into Tuesday, 2 p.m., eclipsing 100 up to a 103, 104 in places in North Texas, extending up into southern Oklahoma. By Wednesday, starting to get hot. 106, 107, 108 in places, 105, 104 in North Texas, 103, even up into Kansas, 104. That's on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Thursday, the heat cranks up. 114 degrees predicted for north central Oklahoma. That's in the area of Enid. 114 degrees, 113. That's Thursday, the 19th, at 2 p.m. That might be in record territory. Let's move ahead to Friday. Still incredible temperatures, 114 degrees in places in north central Oklahoma, 115. That's 10 degrees hotter than it's going to be out here in the desert near Phoenix, Arizona. That's incredible. And you got to keep in mind, it's following the path pretty much of that dust cloud. So maybe some association with that. I don't know for sure. I've done some research on it, and what I can find, it does contain some thermal energy, but not necessarily at the surface, mainly in the atmosphere, but it could generate some warm air. But this is exceptionally warm, 115 degrees by Friday at 2 p.m. Let's go ahead and look at Saturday real quick. Cooling off a little bit, in fact, cooling off considerably. 24 hours after what will probably be record temperatures on Friday, 115s, 113s, 114s. Step ahead to Saturday, cooling off into the upper 90s, mid to upper 90s. So big heat wave through the Midwest. Up around Chicago by Saturday, a comfortable 67. Friday, up into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you're looking at 70s and 80s. Thursday, generally warm from the Dakotas all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Very warm. It's always warm out here during the summer and through the central part of California, even up to 109 in places on Thursday. Friday, still the same, 109, 108. That's pretty common. 107 in Vegas. 105 in Phoenix. That's actually probably kind of low for this time of year. But overall, generally warm, pleasant throughout the upper Midwest and the eastern seaboard, looking pretty good. Now let's look for the chance of thunderstorms. Look for the lift starting on Monday. Anything east of the Mississippi and parts of west of the Mississippi, primarily east of the Mississippi. You've got the darker burgundies. Those are the bigger chances for severe weather. Up north of Toronto, west of Ottawa. That's northwestern Pennsylvania, Alabama, parts of Mississippi. That's on Monday. Just pay attention to the dark burgundy. Look at that big dip in the jet coming down on Tuesday. Look at that. Wow. So that's what's bringing the cooler temperatures in right there for the upper Midwest. That's a big dominating upper level jet stream. But below it, you can see the chance for thunderstorms in areas in the southern states and the upper Northeast. But that is a big dominating upper level jet stream that hangs around for a day, bringing very mild temperatures and very mild weather to Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All of the areas you see here in blue, pretty pleasant. Then things kind of change towards the end of the week. And then by Friday, it's a big change. Severe storms throughout the Midwest on Friday. Big superstorms Friday afternoon. Same way on Saturday. Big superstorms in the Nashville area, Memphis, up through Kentucky, the dark burgundies. So Friday and Saturday could see significant thunderstorms in the central part of the U.S. Very pleasant, though, on Thursday, especially on Wednesday. Tuesday, as well, as that big front dips way down into Nashville. That's nice weather. It's very nice. Even on Monday. A little bit warm, but you can see it's starting to make its way down on Monday. So overall, not too bad. Chance of big thunderstorms on Friday, though. More volcanic activity as an eruption ejects ash 5.2 kilometers into the atmosphere, 17,000 feet in Indonesia. Very active volcanic-wise. Iceland showing clear signs of unrest. July 14th, we're here at the Watchers.news. New fissure eruption at Reunion Island. Volcanic activity out in the Indian Ocean. That's the 6.4 earthquake that was a couple of days ago down in the southern Pacific. New volcanic activity in Japan. We're seeing volcanic activity in the South Sandwich Islands. So all around the globe, volcanic activity is increasing slowly but surely. I want to talk about the temperatures up in Norway just real quick. You're looking at temperatures, this was last week also, of 86 degrees in some places in Norway. That is, from what I understand, quite unprecedented. 86 degrees in Norway. I also received an email from a young lady from up in that area, Scandinavia. This is dated July 3rd. She says, please pardon my English. I'm a Norwegian, 57 years old, and can report on extraordinary weather here in Scandinavia. We have a drought going on up here. Farmers cannot produce any food reserves for the livestock. Since May 1st, we have had 1 day of rain here, and it's really hot. A real crisis up here as well. Not in my life have I seen anything like this. This goes for Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. I received that email on July 3rd, 2018. And you can see the record-setting temperatures up in that area. That's creating, problems. Farmers are having a difficult time keeping crops going, for the livestock. So, we're teetering here, with the food chain, and that's not a good thing. So we don't like to see these extreme temperatures or extreme UV in areas like we're seeing. This is a very small scale of something that could quickly turn into a very large scale event, with regard to crops and things like that. So firsthand email from a young lady that lives up there, has lived there her whole life and has never seen anything like what's going on up there right now. This is back in the United States from West Memphis. This is a actual radar loop of what appears to be the sky literally falling. Look at that. That's a downdraft from a thunderstorm over West Memphis. I think this was 3 days ago. Look at that downdraft. That is incredible. So basically what that did was produced very high winds as these thunderstorms were firing here west in West Memphis. And you don't normally see downdrafts like that on the radar. But in this case, they were crystal clear. And you could also see some over here to the far right too. I want to finish up here by saying that we are a definite closed caption considerate YouTube channel. Okay? By all means. Do you see this box here that I have? This is a screenshot of a video I did a couple of days ago. On every video that I upload, I have it's on auto set. I don't manually do this. It does it automatically. It auto generates closed caption. Every single video I do. So if you ever see a video that doesn't have closed caption on it, please let me know, because we are closed caption considerate here. Absolutely. You bet I am. Why wouldn't I be? So you should always see closed captions on every video that I put up, because it's always on. It's automatically put on, because we are considerate of others. So if you see any from this day moving forward, just know that we are closed caption considerate. You can find the link to this website and many other websites that I've shared today in today's Watchman's report in the description box below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a super day, and as always, be safe out there.